Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Fantasy Trifecta. I'm your host, as always, Anthony Shulo, here to talk to you guys about my lineup recap last night, what lineup I went with, how it went, some mistakes I made, and then also talk about the slate tonight on January 23rd, not June. Don't know how I goofed that up last time. Let's quickly recap the lineup that I went with last night. I really wish that I played back my video that my initial thoughts on the salary before and looked at my notes beforehand, more closer to the slate, because I had a lot of good reads on the games. Not everything worked out perfectly, but some plays that I thought were strong contrarian plays and then strong contrarian stances, going underweight to Bledsoe, Middleton, I think really helped. But then there were some injuries that kind of arose that I think just kind of changed my roster construction. I just kind of made some bad plays that I even not even from a results oriented standpoint. I just kind of knew after thinking about it right after lock, before certain players even played, I was just man, I really should have thought about that more. He was a good play. So let's just jump right into it. So last night I played three tournaments, single entry, didn't cash in any of them. There were some lineups that did absurdly well. The cash line, or the points that you needed to cash last night was very, very high. I saw a guy in one of the tournaments I was in first place scored over 400 points. Over 400 points in NBA. That's unheard of. I've never seen that before in my life. He had Boogie Cousins. He was on all the right value plays, so good on that guy, whatever his name was. Let's just recap it. So at the point guard position, I went with Malcolm Brogdon. I thought that once we got news that he was going to play and start, I thought he was a very, very, very good contrarian play, good leverage play relative to Middleton and Bledsoe. Yes, Brogdon was somewhat popular, but he was way less popular than Middleton and Bledsoe were. Yes, Middleton and Bledsoe did end up doing well, but Brogdon was such a strong play. 47 points at 5K, that's almost 10x. Why I came onto that play is because I was the ownership thing. Last minute, he's in there. He's supposed to get his full allotment of minutes. There's no Greek freak. It's the same situation as you could look at it with Middleton and Bledsoe. And then you're telling me he's less or more than 3K cheaper than two of those guys? Sign me up. Brogdon all day. It was just a great spot on paper, I thought. And then, he was technically more rested than the other players because he had missed that game, the previous game that they played. It wasn't a back-to-back, but that, also it's still rest. I thought he was just a great play. I was oh my gosh, this is awesome. So I didn't think twice. I just played Brogdon. And like I said, Middleton and Bledsoe did well, but you were just right in there with everybody else if you played them. So it is what it is. Next I played, and this was a mistake, Josh Richardson. I was thinking about it more and more, and I knew I said initially Ellington was the better play because of the value, but then I'm thinking more and more about it, and Ellington is so shot reliant. He doesn't really generate a ton of assists, rebounds, things like that, those high usage statistics. Even though his usage does go up with Dragic and Johnson out, I think Richardson, should theoretically get the bigger usage bump. So I went with him, and man, did he do bad. And I should have played, what I should have done, and this is one of the mistakes I regretted right after lock, was play Jerry and Grant at the one and moved up Brogdon at the two guard because he's dual eligible. So that's another good thing about Brogdon, why he was a good play, I thought. That would have been so ideal. Then I would have had room to maybe play for Boogie Cousins, who went off for 104 points or something like that, just absurd. That would have been nice. So unfortunately, I played Richardson. It did not work out. My small forward was Andrew Wiggins. I went with him, kind of just my thoughts on Butler. If he was out, I wanted to definitely consider Wiggins, Teague, and Gibson being my favorite ones because they were the cheapest. And then Towns was, of course, in play too. I just didn't like him as much because he was more expensive. So I went with Wiggins. I expected him to be fairly popular with Butler out, but I just thought it was too good of a play not to. Yes, I realized he's a pretty shot-reliant guy, but I just thought at his price in this circumstance, I just thought it was the right play. And also the positional scarcity at small forward wasn't the greatest either. So I thought he made for a strong play. Power forward, another, not necessarily a mistake, but just a play that didn't work out, was James Johnson. At 5'6", he scored 18 points. It's terrible. He just never really got going, got in a little bit of foul trouble. So it is what it is. It was a decent spot, but it didn't work out. So, and we had Johnson and Dragic out, so there's, therefore there should be a usage bump with Johnson theoretically. So there you go. Center, I went with Gobert, and this was, I should have kind of assumed that he was going to be probably more chalky. Yes, I thought it was a good spot, but I should have went with like Nurkic and maybe Capella, like even though Capella didn't do good, but like they made for stronger plays even in hindsight because they were cheaper. And Gobert, even though we're feeling more encouraged with his minutes increasing, he's still coming off of an injury. So I think for a cheaper price tag and other decent matchups, I thought like Nurkic and Capella were plays too. Obviously, it would have been great if I paid up for Whiteside. He went off. He was definitely somebody I considered strongly. Unfortunately, I did not play him. I'm going to say what it is. I just got a little worried about his minutes. That's it. Considering I thought Gobert's minutes were a bit more secure. But that's why you got to kind of take those risks in tournament. I had him in my lineup up until about 5 minutes before lock, and I took him out. A huge mistake. I've said it before. I tinker with lineups quite a bit. Sometimes it's really, really helped me. Like right before lock, I've had one of my biggest nights swapping players in, and then other times it's burned me. But it's a results-oriented type of thing. But I really wish I just would have stuck to my read on Whiteside and these other plays. But it is what it is. Also, the stud that I played up for was James Harden. I said yesterday or 2 days ago that it was a bad matchup against Miami. Miami plays slow. However, I played Harden because the way the roster construction worked. And also he's priced at 10-2, which is like a discount for James Harden. Yes, he's coming off of an injury, but Harden is a guy who should be priced around 11K, even when Chris Paul's on the floor. That's the type of high usage, high scoring player he is, DraftKings-wise. So yeah, he made for a strong play. I thought, obviously, like Cousins did way better. It would have been nice to pay up for him. But I didn't think the spot was bad for Harden. I thought, nice little contrarian play. He was low owned, but it didn't work out. And then secondly, a guy that I mentioned, but I didn't actually think he'd get the nod to start was Greg Monroe, but he did get the start. Greg Monroe is one of those guys. Whenever he gets the nod to start, you kind of want to. You don't have to start him, but definitely consider him. He's just a guy that double upside. This was a great matchup against Milwaukee. I believe he played for them. I'm not into those revenge narratives a whole lot, but Milwaukee's a very bad defensive team against big guys. I've known that. I was on Gortat against them a month ago, and he just went crazy. Even bigs that aren't that great in other spots do well against Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's legitimately bad at guarding big guys. So Monroe definitely in play. And then played him. He scored 35 points to 4-7. That's what we're looking for in tournaments. That's fantastic. He was chalky, yes, but you kind of needed him to do well. And then lastly, I went with De'Aaron Fox. It was just a kind of a roster construction thing. I was considering Rubio. Fox was $100 cheaper, and I wanted to get in Harden as well. So I went with him. He did fine. 32 points at 5-1. That's about 6x, so definitely take it. And what I kind of did, roster construction-wise, and I can even show you this. So, right now, I have Harden as my guard and Fox as my utility. But what I did before lock was I actually had Fox as my guard and then Harden was my utility. And the reason why I flip-flopped them is because if you flip-flop them and say somebody's having the same roster construction as you and they have it narrowed down, if you have Harden in that guard spot and then you have the utility spot open, and then also priced at 5-1 was Joe Ingles. So if you leave Fox, or if you leave that 5-1 salary for the utility spot, that forces other players to think if they have the same roster construction as you up until that point. I thought it was a smart play to play Fox over Ingles because I thought Ingles was wildly inconsistent, elevated ownership, just wanted to play him. So that's a spot that you could be contrarian. It's one little spot on your roster, but I think it goes a long way. If you flip flop a position and then force one player in that last utility spot that's priced around other guys that might be highly owned, that's definitely a type of strategy I've incorporated a lot, and sometimes it works. So and that's pretty much it in terms of my lineup recap. I don't have a ton of time here to break down these games, but it's quick, so we'll just jump right into it game by game. So first game, we've got Sacramento taking on Orlando. I believe Sacramento's got a bit of injury or / rest concern here, so I think George Hill, all the veterans are in play to sit. That's what they said about a week ago or so. And I wouldn't be shocked if Costa Kufo sat. If Hill sat. I mean, these are guys that started yesterday that don't usually start. And I'm just kind of going off assumption back-to-back veterans. I'm just kind of playing it out in my head. I also think that there's strong chance Carter sits. So I think this is fairly simple. And then also Randolph is questionable. So I think that if we get official word, and we should get this word because it's 6 o'clock, if we get word that Randolph and Kufos are out, I definitely think Cauley Stein and Scalabissiere are in play. Prefer Scalabissiere for the low ownership. I expect them to be popular, but rightfully so. So this is a great matchup against Orlando. Orlando, very bad defensively, plays fast. Just a great spot for the both of them. I think Cauley Stein actually makes a good pivot to Cantor, who we'll talk about, who I think will be fairly highly owned. And yeah, I mean, I like De'Aaron Fox a bit too. This is again a good spot. He shouldn't sit. Yeah, I don't think he'll sit. I mean, he's like one of the young guys on the team. So yeah, and then other than that, I mean, you're just kind of maybe Buddy Hield. Same thing I kind of said about him yesterday. If you're making multiple lineups, throw Buddy Hield in one. Maybe he goes off. Who knows? It is a good spot, so this is probably a better spot than others where you could get him at a lower ownership. And then yeah, on Orlando, like I said kind of before, I don't like. Yes, I know Dwight Howard did well yesterday, but I think that kind of just is chasing points. Essentially, this is not a good spot for Orlando. This is a very, very pace down game for them, and I just think that everybody's kind of priced high. Like Alfred Payton 6'9", Aaron Gordon 8'1". Who do you want on this team that's mispriced or something? The only guy I can maybe think of is maybe Jonathan Simmons. You kind of hope that he gets hot. I don't know how. I mean, his usage is down with Gordon and Payton in the mix. Yes, Vucevic is out, so I guess I was going to play one at B Simmons, but I'm not really loving a whole lot on Orlando's side of the ball. So yeah, let's just jump right in the next game. I only really like Sacramento in that game. It's a small slate, so you're going to have to take some stances. So yeah, Brooklyn taking on OKC. Like I've kind of alluded to before, OKC, very, very tough defensive team, very, very underrated defensive team and team just in general. I think that people still underestimate them for some reason. I think they're a great basketball team that could even compete with the Warriors. So yeah, I think that on OKC, people might look to go to Westbrook with some value on the slate, but I don't love it. I mean, he's priced at almost $12K. That's like a buy high price on him. Yes, he could do well. It's Russell Westbrook, but I don't love the play at the price. I prefer him in another spot where he's a bit cheaper, a bit less owned. And yeah, Adams is a bit too pricey for my liking. That's a buy high price on him. The only guys I'm really considering on OKC is actually probably Paul George and Andre Roberson. Carmelo, I kind of skipped right over. I just think he's too shot reliant. And yes, that price is decent on him. I understand going there, but I prefer George and Roberson. Roberson's just the type of guy that you kind of play. If you're making multiple lineups, you kind of hope that he gets a lot of blocks, steals, just a lot of peripheral stats. He's not a high usage guy at all, but he does have upside. And for 4K, a guy that's supposed to be starting in a high pace spot, I don't hate the play. I know I kind of said the same thing about Avery Bradley the other day. It didn't work, but it's still a good spot. So yeah, I don't know. I don't mind the play on him. And then George, I think, is more in play than the others because he's the type of guy he's priced a bit low for the matchup, and then also he's just he could get a triple-double here, but we like George because he gets a lot of peripheral stats. He's not just like Melo, where he's just getting all the only way he gets value is through scoring. He could get rebounds, steals, assists, all that stuff. So I think George is in play for sure. But just kind of in general, I'm not really loving this game a whole lot. If I were to play one guy on Brooklyn, it'd probably be Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. I just think that his upside is still there, even with D'Angelo Russell lingering in the mix. His minutes are supposed to increase, supposedly. I don't know, but I don't think that takes away from Hollis-Jefferson. I think it takes away from Crabbe. Who else? Dinwiddie and Carroll, maybe. Some the guards, basically. I don't think it'll affect Hollis-Jefferson a whole lot. So I definitely think he's my favorite Brooklyn net, but I think that there's probably better plays on the slate. Just kind of in general, not really loving the game a whole lot. And I think Karis LeVert's out of play. I think his usage is down for good, essentially, since Russell is back. So Yeah, next game we got Cleveland taking on San Antonio. Lots of value in this game. So we've got Kawhi Leonard is out on the Spurs side of the ball. Rudy Gay is out. Manu Ginobili, and then I believe anybody else? Pau Gasol. Did I say him already? Yeah. So that, and then on Cleveland side of the ball, or Cleveland Shumpert is questionable. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I think that Aldridge will be very highly owned, but rightfully so. Like I said, there's high usage guys that are injured, not playing today, so Aldridge should get some good looks. I don't know what people. I think he'll be highly owned, but I think people might be a bit hesitant because he was chalk. Whatever slate I had a good slate on like 2 days ago, and like he failed. Gasol was the play on that team, so I don't know if people will be hesitant, but I think he's a strong play. And then also, I don't know what to do with Kevin Love. I want to play in this spot. I just have my doubts. I just am worried about. He's coming off an illness, he's supposed to be 100%, which just sounds better than an injury. But I don't know. Like, this isn't a great spot. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's a different circumstance this year than last year if Kevin Love was priced this way in this spot. I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to pull the trigger. It's a low-owned play. If you get multiple lineups, I understand the play on Love, but I'll probably pass. LeBron James, I understand it. I think he makes for a decent play, but I'm not probably going to look there. It's just a tougher matchup, pace-down spot. Spurs play good defensively, even without Kawhi Leonard, so I'll probably pass. If I were to play one guy in Cleveland, it's probably Isaiah Thomas. I just think that of the three, he's priced cheaper. His high usage on this team could get hot, could make some shots. So I definitely think he's in play. And then running back on the Spurs, like I said, Aldridge is in play. I also think Kyle Anderson is in play, but here's what I'll say. Last game, he did very well. Well, I played him, and I knew he did great. But when I looked into it, a lot of the points that he got were through steals and blocks. He got like 5 steals and 3 blocks. Just note that is not sustainable. Yes, this is a good spot. Maybe he does it again, but note that he'll be very, very popular. And the reason he's just kind of hard to avoid, I think that shooting guard is a very tough position to play on this slate. So it's kind of hard to not play him just out of opportunity cost sake. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, like, he's in play, but just note that his production last game was a bit inflated. And then what else? So I think DeJounte Murray we could give a look to for sure. I hope he starts. I would think he would. He's another type of point guard. A lot of peripheral stats. Could just do a lot of different things. So definitely like him. Patty Mills is in play, but I prefer Murray over him. I think Murray has more upside. Mills, if you're making multiple lineups, you could throw him in one. I feel the same way about Danny Green. Just you kind of hope they get hot and they just have a good scoring night. Other than that, you can maybe take a flyer on Dwayne Wade. That's not the type of play I like to make, though. I just don't think his minutes are all there. That'll do it for that game, I think. Next game, Boston taking on LA. Nice little rivalry here. So on the Boston side of the ball, this is not a lot of injuries, but I definitely do like Kyrie. I don't mind going back to him. He did well for me the other night. People might say, he's only shot reliant, but I mean, you could say the same thing about Steph Curry, who's priced over like 1K higher than him. So it's like, what is the argument against Kyrie in a better spot in potentially a more competitive game? So I definitely like Kyrie over Curry. I don't think that's a hot take, but that's just what I think. I also think Horford is in play. Another guy could get triple doubles, a lot of peripheral stats, good spot. So Horford is definitely in play for me. And then I think Jason Tatum's in play. I know he didn't do as well as I would have liked the other day, but I definitely think that he could do well in this spot. I prefer him over Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's in play, but I prefer Tatum for the cheaper price and potentially lower ownership. Other than that, not really playing a whole lot. Marcus Morris just doesn't have the minutes, I don't think, so I'll probably pass. And then on LA, I think Clarkson will be very popular. Lonzo Ball is still out, so I think people will look his way. I'm not loving it, though. And I know not playing him burned me the other day, but this is a different spot. He's priced up. Boston is a very tough defensive team, plays slow, and I think that they could just slow the game down, play the game at their own pace, even though it's in Los Angeles. But I think that they could mitigate the Lakers' offense the way they want to. They're a very talented team, well coached. So yeah, I definitely think that I'm not going to play Clarkson. I'll just say that right now. If you want to go there, fine. Just know he'll be popular and could very well fail in the spot. So I'll probably pass on him. And then the rest of the Lakers is just kind of hard to predict. I don't know what's going on. And another reason why Clarkson doesn't make the best play either is because Caldwell Pope is probable, and then so is Ingram, both probable. So that would theoretically lower the usage of Clarkson. So yeah, another reason why I'm not in love with the play on this slate. And then the rest, Josh Hart, he's out of play if Caldwell Pope is playing. We'll play him down the road potentially. Tyler Ennis, we don't know. The guard situation is just such a guessing game. Like Ennis, and then they got this new guy coming in. I forgot his name. Caruso. Like, he feels like the Wayne Seldom Jr. of this slate. I hope you guys didn't play him yesterday. I didn't play him because I didn't see that Chalmers and the other guards were out. So, and I think he got ejected anyway too. So there's that. So Caruso. Yeah, I just don't love the spot, especially with Caldwell Pope back. People might look there. I just don't think it's the best play. Marcus Smart, if you're making multiple lineups, I'll just mention the Boston again. He has upside coming off the bench. But a multiple lineup type of play. And then Kuzma, I'm not in love with the play. I know that he's priced cheaper, but Ingram is back, as I noted, so I'm not really loving it a whole lot. People might look to go to Randall, but I prefer Cauley Stein at the same price point in a better spot, in potentially a better usage situation. So I'm probably just a pass on the Lakers altogether, to be honest. I just think this is a tough spot. Then we got New York taking on Golden State. So a lot of injuries here. Well, not a lot, but very important injuries. So we got Kristaps Porzingis out, Kyle Quinn out. So, and then on the Golden State side of the ball, what's his name? Jordan Bell is out as well. So, definitely Kanter's in play, absolutely. Hardaway Jr., Jarrett Jack, as well as Michael Beasley. So if I were to rank the four, I'd probably go Beasley, Kanter, Jack, and then Hardaway. I know it might be a bit of a hot take on this slate to say Hardaway last, but I don't think Hardaway's minutes are all there. This could be a good spot, but this is a tough defensive spot. Golden State plays fast, but he should see Klay Thompson on guarding him. So Klay Thompson's a very, very good defender, one that you shouldn't attack in DFS, but people might do it anyway today. I shouldn't say it in general. Don't completely avoid Klay Thompson all the time, but I just think in that spot it's a fade. I don't think Hardaway is in play for me really. Maybe if my roster construction when I'm tinkering with my lineups it works out that way, but not really loving it at elevated ownership. I like Jack. I think he's cheap. And his usage should theoretically boost with Porzingis out. And then I think Beasley's just the best play. He should be popular, but rightfully so. This is the guy, when he gets the usage on the team, he excels. I was on him his whole stretch of doing well when Hardaway was out. The guy produces, and he's priced below 6K, so I think he's a good play on this slate. If you're making multiple lineups, I understand Courtney Lee. His usage should theoretically boost. And then, of course, Kanter. The only thing I'm a little worried about him is his minutes, but I think they should still be there with Kyle Quinn and Porzingis out. They have not a lot of big men, so they kind of have to play him. And then running it back on Golden State, like I said, I don't love the price tags on Durant Curry. I just think that, Curry, for being a guy that's really scoring reliant, maybe he gets some steals, maybe he gets some assists. But I think it's the same type of thing as you could say about Irving. Irving's priced $1,600 cheaper. Why not play him? In a rivalry game if you're all over the narrative angle. I just think that Durant, it kind of feels like the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation a few weeks back. Antetokounmpo was priced at $11K. He was just an easy fade because he wasn't meeting tournament value at that salary. He proved that he couldn't, and yet he was still priced that high. I feel the same way about Durant. All the Warriors are playing, so it's as of now. So I don't really know where Durant's upside comes from for the price. I definitely do have interest in Thompson and Green. Thompson a bit more. He's priced cheap. I don't think a lot of people will be on him. He's just one of those players. If Thompson's priced below 7K, I have interest in him. He could get hot. he could produce, he could score. He's a shooting guard, yeah, but Thompson has upside for the price. I believe that. Green, I like too for his peripheral stat upside, but his price is a little. He's in play, but I wish the price was a little bit cheaper. I wish it was below 8K, not at 8K. So yeah, other than that, if you're making multiple lineups, you could throw Iguodala in one. He's supposed to play today, so there you go. I think you're kind of hoping the game blows out and he gets a lot of minutes, but this game could stay close. Who knows? That'll do it on this episode of the Daily Fantasy Trifecta. I wanted to record this quick so it could get processed in YouTube and you guys could watch it really quickly before lock. I will try to be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to talk about UFC or NBA. I haven't really decided yet. The DraftKings salaries for the UFC card this Saturday was released, so if I have suitable research up until that point, I'll probably roll out the pod then, if not later this week. That'll do it, and good luck on your contest, guys. Bye.